FinallyTV. It is your boy Gabriel. We are here right now with yet another episode of Voice of the Valley. Today, I have a special guest on. I'd like to introduce him right now. Sir, tell him what your name is.
Your boy Blackout, NEWBURGH Zone, 845, stand up, New Biddy the city.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Very happy to have you on, sir. Thank you for coming.
Glad to be here, man.
Yeah, man. We're gonna put a good spotlight on some really talented individuals, and you fit the bill perfectly, sir.
Appreciate that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, getting right into it, man. Where were you born, and how'd you end up in the Hudson Valley?
I was born right here in NEWBURGH, man, St. Luke's Hospital. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Long time ago.
Okay.
Ain't that old. So, I'm from here. My family's from here. I'm the child of an immigrant. You know what I mean? My father's from Haiti.
Okay.
So he made that trek over here. And, my mother is from NEWBURGH proper. So,
Okay.
that's me.
Got you. You said you moved down south.
Moved down south, man, when I was 8 years old. Moved down to North Carolina with my mother, my brother, and kind of, had my formative years there.
Gotcha. So Tar Heel, Duke fan?
Tar Heels, man.
Tar Heel, there you go.
Tar
there you go.
Heels.
The colors are better. That's just what it is.
All day. A lot of blue.
So, tell us why you're here today, Blackout.
I know what I wrote down. I know what I feel. I know what the right answer is.
Yeah.
I'll put it like this, right? So I don't like the word rapper.
Okay.
Because I think it's got a stigma. It means something different today than what it meant, at least to me growing up.
Sure.
So you can say I'm an artist. I think I'm an artist. And I'm a producer. And they kind of go for hand in hand. So I just dropped a new project called No Cosign back in February.
Okay.
I try to make good music.
Got you.
That's
Tell
why I'm
them
here.
right real quick where they can find that album right now.
You can get No Cosign everywhere, man. So Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, Google Play, iHeartRadio, anywhere you like music, you can get it. No Cosign.
Gotcha. So yeah, I'm sure it's on the screen somewhere while he's saying that. And it's a good point that just like every other interview, if you hear music playing right now, it's this gentleman's music.
In 16, Blackout. Swag, cruising through my city, get your Fetty got, yeah. Pop him in his honor, that's a Fetty Wap. The hammer make him dance like a Millie Rock. Yo, and I'ma do this shit on any block. Nigga, tell a nigga move, bitch, I'm ludicrous. I've been it for a minute, I ain't new to this.
I appreciated it. I liked it. So make sure you go out there, download it, enjoy it just like I did. So you say 8 years old. You were around in the area,
Yeah.
but when did you realize what your passion was?
Always. I've been in love with music since I can remember, man. My uncle was a DJ. OG Score One, shout out to my uncle. Everybody around here pretty much knows him. And then my brother, a couple years older than me, was also in the music, pretty hard. I mean, he was battle rapping in high school. In the early Rough Riders days, he kind of linked with them.
Oh, okay.
We was doing some shows with them, so that's a big influence. Your big brother, you look up to him. You kind of want to be in that culture.
Yeah.
My uncle just always being in the room, spinning the records. You learn the music, you learn to love it. And
Gotcha.
I took to it real early, man.
Yeah. Okay, got you. And you're not only, like you said before, you're not only an artist on the microphone. You're producing music as well.
Yeah, I produce music. I was in band. I was in a symphonic band. I tell people that all the time. Like, listen, you got a skill, or you got a love or a passion. You need to work on that passion to kind of perfect that craft. So, just like rapping, you want to be a rapper, you need to rap like all the time. You work that muscle. So, I was a starving MC like most people. I'm looking for beats, and that's the hardest thing, right? You're looking for beats. And I didn't have no budget. I didn't have, this is pre-internet. This is pre-go online, find a beat, and PayPal you $25 for it.
Right.
This is more like you need to know somebody with an MPC or a drum machine or a live band who could record something for your 8-track. I mean, whatever the case may be.
Right.
And so I taught myself how to play beats. You know what I mean? I taught myself, I knew how to play piano from band. I knew how to play baritone. And that music just kind of translated when I saw it. And I taught myself how to play other instruments. And from there, I started producing.
Yeah.
And I found that it was easier to get traction, producing than it was as an artist. Because everybody wanted to do it. But not everybody... It's easy to stand in front of a mic and say something, whether good or bad.
Right.
It's not as easy to create music.
Right.
So,
Agreed.
when you say, "Hey, I'm not just talking on a mic, I create music, listen to this composition, people are more open to that right away. Like, oh, let me hear that.
Sure. No, I agree with that wholeheartedly. But you've made some headway though with this producing stuff. When you sent over the credits, man, tell the people like what you've done so far with producing.
You know, my first, I got a couple placements. You know, my first major placement was with Oxygen. They were doing a show about fashion designers in New York City called House of Glam. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
Yep.
So I made the theme song to House of Glam called "This Life Is Amazing."
Oh, okay.
So it comes on, "This life is amazing."
Yeah, the wife watches that.
Yeah, that's my theme song. So I made that out my basement. You know what I mean? So that was like my first major placement. You know, I saw the little logo at the end of the show.
Yeah.
Not that show, but another show, and they talk about, you know, if you want to do X, Y, and Z, here's an email, and it flew by real fast. So I got the email, send them some stuff.
Gotcha.
And it kind of took off from there. So, you know, from Oxygen, I went to VH1. From VH1, that's Viacom. All those big companies are connected, man. So MTV has a music division who's very much so like with Warner and all them. And from there, it's like, hey, you know, you make good stuff. Why don't we, you know, you try, you know, submitting for this and this artist and this artist, and they always look for reference tracks and things of that nature to use. So I started sending them my work and started building connections that way. So, you know, my latest and greatest thing is I know Nicki Minaj is about to drop a new album. I got a placement on there, so I don't know how that's going to be used. They don't kind of tell you until, okay, here's the song.
Gotcha.
And there's the input we need from it. But, you know, I got Nicki Minaj, Ace Hood, Bruno Mars, Amazing. I co-produced.
You did that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's dope.
I got some big songs.
Yeah, man.
So it's been a blessing.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. And let's just make it a point to remind the people the things that you have done and have accomplished so far. And where were you born again?
I was born in Newburgh.
Newburgh, people. You can do it. You can make it out of here. You just got to have the mindset, you know, the commitment like we were talking about earlier, you know. And, you know, talking about the area, let's talk about the area a little bit, you know. And we had a good discussion a little earlier about a little like how the area gets a little segregated and how our culture, at least in the hip hop culture, how we kind of fight each other still.
Yeah.
You know, we're fighting for the same spotlight. You know, let's talk about that a little bit. What's your thoughts on that?
It's very backwards, man. And I talk about, you know, like my friends, my family, and even some artists that, you know, I work with, people that I like, I think are dope. How our culture, you know, this hip hop thing is very. Competition is not what I mean when I say this. Competition is good. Competition, you know, or make a diamond, you know, or you know, bust a pipe. That's not what I mean. I mean more like people feel like in this culture that if you're winning, that means I'm losing. So somebody else's success means that I can't win. Like there's only one spot in the whole world for somebody who has talent, and that's not the case at all. So our culture is very divisive. It's very much like, you know, I want to rap, you know. I hate that word, but you know, I want to be in the hip hop culture, whatever the case that may be. And if I'm doing that, I can't work with you. I can't like your stuff. Everything that you're making is terrible. I'm not supporting it or whatnot, whatever the case may be. So while there's a lot of talent in the valley that I know personally, and probably some I don't know, it's I hate the fact that more of it is not coming together, because I feel like if we had a big movement, there'd be a lot more shine in this area, because there's talented people here, man.
I agree. 90% of the reason why FinallyTV exists today is everything you just said. You know, so I'm hoping that I do my little part to push people together, and, you know, Voice of the Valley Showcase, remember, you know, we talked about that as well, you know, and I think that is a healing agent to what we just talked about. You know, about how the spotlight isn't big enough for two to be nice on the mic and get shine. The spotlight is huge. The spotlight might as well be the sun. You know,
I think the spotlight will accommodate however many people need to be in it.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's how you got to look at it. If you're good enough and you have the talent enough, there's no reason why 20 people from this area can't be in the spotlight at the same time.
Right. I can name every member of Wu-Tang right now.
There you go.
You know what I mean? So there's no reason why people shouldn't be able to name the talented folks that are up here in the Hudson Valley doing things, you know. So just to put a little closure on that, let's tell people: unite, support, subscribe. You know, all those things matter, you know. But if you see that a local showcase is going on, it's not going to kill you to show up there for an hour, buy a drink, and listen. You never know.
You know what's funny about that too? Like, if this was a sport, right? If you're a sports fan, I'm assuming.
Sure.
You big into football?
Yes.
So if you ever like watch the draft or watch the lead up into the the draft or the big college games, the bowl games, championship, these talking heads, they talk about it like, oh, you know, Florida is a factory for this kind of player, right? And Texas has the big hog mollies and a lot, and like literally that you get a pedigree and you get a name based off of the fact that, you know, dudes who are good at this one thing come from this area, and it's kind of obvious. Nobody knocks, you know, the Bronx being a birthplace, or that, you know, 4, 5, 10, 20 people came from Queens and that was a thing. Like, no, they embrace that. Like, yo, you dudes have it.
Yes.
You guys have it.
Yes.
And I think in our area, it should be looked at the same way. Like, there's so much talent. You know, if you guys are all winning and working together and pulling the same direction, it would be the same thing. Like, yo, yeah, New York City got those spitters, right? But up top, there's a different breed of person up there, and they come from there. And it won't be he, it'll be a they. It's a collective. It's a good thing for all of us. So definitely support local. If you're a fan of the culture, you're a fan of music in general, and you support the culture, support your people.
Yeah, no, I agree wholeheartedly. And we did kind of say earlier that it just seems to be hip-hop that cannibalizes like that.
It's hip-hop, man.
You know?
I don't know another genre like this.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think the competition part of it bred into something different, more like a hating culture. I think the fact that, you know, it used to be, you know, I'm the nicest on the mic, I'm the best with words, I got you know, lyricism, punchlines, whatever. I could talk about your mama, I talk about your shoes, whatever the case may be. But it was the act of I have to be better, and that was the culture it was based on. But at the end, the part people forget was it was the daps. Yeah. It was the embrace at the end. It was the handshake. It was that was dope. It was that's my brother right there when it was all done. Now you got the I'll do this, that, and the third, and that. Then it's like, and now we got beef. Yeah. And now it's Biggie Pop. You know what I mean? It morphed into something that was negative.
Yeah, I think I call it the money infusion era that happened in hip hop. I think that because like it was always there. Like if you were a fan of hip hop back in the day and you saw like an Ice-T album, he had more ice and gold on that album than, you know, and girls showing their A's and all that. You know what I mean? But like it got different in like the late '90s. It got a little different, you know, and things started to change.
Well, you don't think that happened before that though? Like I said, when you talk about Biggie and Pac, I think that was like the first at least for me, that was the first culmination of that.
The shiny suit era. You know, when Puffy threw the locks of all people, Yonkers bred spitters, he threw them in shiny suits, you know, to get them a little notoriety and to get people talking. It worked. It obviously worked. You know, but that does kind of mark a time in hip hop where things changed. You know,
definitely.
But again, you know, I love the culture, music in general. You know, but I think that what we're trying to say is 845, please stand up.
All day.
You know, please stand up. So continuing on, you mentioned that you got into making your own beats because it was just easier to do so, and that kind of flourished into something else and producing for other people and doing good things. But so when would you say was the point where you locked it down, you knew, hey, I'm getting serious about this? How long have you been pursuing it like professionally?
That's hard to say, right? For me, because I say I've been pursuing this dream for a decade, right? About 10 years. But it hasn't been constant. It's been off and on. You know, I joined the military. And when I was, you know, the first time I was kind of breaking in and getting some traction, I'm getting noticed because of my production. Like I said, it was you know, mid 2000s, snap music was a thing, right? Them Franchise Boys, White Tee, that whole sound was a sound. And if you were an artist making that sound, unfortunately, they didn't want to deal with you. They was like, this is what rap is morphing into. You need to either follow this blueprint or we're not trying to hear you. And I got hit with the same thing. You know, I came in the door trying to make beats, got on some mixtapes, yada, yada, yada. And that's what they wanted. They didn't want anything else. And I wasn't with that. So I kind of walked away. But as I'm walking away, you know, I'm 19. It's not like I'm retiring and go sit, you know, on the beach somewhere. I was in college. I just finished my second year. And then literally I went and I joined the Army. Right. And this is, you know, a little bit between that. This is a couple years after 9/11. This is something I was contemplating on before the music started getting traction. I was like, you know, I want to be in the military. I went to college, you know, thinking I was going to do my 4 years and then join. But, you know, the music started taking off. And then, you know, during the summer between my sophomore and junior year, you know, I just kind of was like, I really want to join the Army. So I did it. So that kind of put things on pause for me. So, you know, I put my time in. And when I got back out, you know, I was you know, I had a kid, you know, I had a wifey, the whole 9 yards, and then I kind of had to pick up steam again with it. So it never left me. I'll say about 10 years, but it hasn't been 10 years straight. It's a few years here, you know, a good 6-7 years of just nothing, and then, you know, now I am here again.
Well, that's kind of how you know, like, it's in your soul.
Yeah.
Like, it's in your heart to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, God bless you for being you. We talked a lot about some of your successes, you know, already. So my next question was going to be, you know, what's transpired thus far to materialize the dream? Like, I guess a better question for you is, what is the vision? What is the dream right now? Where do you see it all culminating? Where you're like, I did what I wanted.
It's a good question. It means something different for me today than it did when I started. I think I speak for myself. I guess originally, you know, I love music. I had a talent for it. I thought, you know, I was raw. I wasn't as good as I am today, and I see that. And when I sit back and listen to old stuff, like, yeah, I love my ideas. The execution was piss poor. It wasn't that great. But, you know, I wanted what I think every other kid wanted. I wanted to not be poor. I wanted to not be in the situation that I was in. Like, going to college for me was a thing. Like, nobody in my immediate family, none, I've gone to college.
Congratulations.
None. So, like, that was a hurdle. That was a barrier. And that was, like, you know, that's an accomplishment. I feel proud of myself, you know. Joining the service, like, the fact that I could do this. I can go through boot camp. I can go to the Afghanistan. I can do this, that, and the third. It was an accomplishment, especially considering where I came from. I come from a background of, you know, my mother was an addict for 25 years. Like, that was my life. I didn't grow up here. I went down south, you know, primarily to get away from that life, to get away from what it bred, to get away from the gangs. And even down there, I was caught up in the same thing. You know, I didn't have it. My mom was running the street. I needed to eat, so I did what I did. You know, I did a bunch of negative things growing up. I had a lot of bad experiences. You know, I went to jail. I got locked up. Which seems like unfortunately, it seems like the typical story of a young black man. And that kind of sucks. No Cosign, I talk about it, you know, a little bit. The first song is called Redemption, and it's it's about overcoming those hurdles. And I talk about, like, yeah, I joined the military and I went to college and, you know, I produced with major artists and I've been studio with some legends, but that happened after the struggle. It wasn't like I just made music and got famous by a meme on YouTube and did that. So initially it was about getting out of the life and making something better for myself. Today it's more like a testimony. Like, I make music for me because it's real to me. It's the way to express myself. It's therapeutic. And I find that if it works for me that way, it can work for others. So I want people to listen and hear it and get something from it. I don't care what they grow from it, but something, as long as it's a positive thing, right? Right. So my end game is, you know, obviously I would love, you know, to be out and about in front of people and be touring all over the globe and people, you know, connecting with my music. But I'm happy to say, like, I'm a walking testimony, because I'm from Newburgh, and when I say that, people know exactly what I mean when I say it. Right, I'm from Newburgh. I'm from NEWBURGH. I'm from the murder capital. Pretty high here. Some bad things, but here I am. Yeah, right. Exactly. I'm having success. I live positively. I live a good life now. Yeah. So I mean, that is the story, and sharing that with other people is kind of the end goal. Yeah. I think the people who are most wise learn from their mistakes and their past, and institute that thought process when they move forward if they didn't like what they were dealing with before, you know. So I commend you on that, because you know better than me, probably not everybody like that. True. You know, they just don't learn from their mistakes. True. You know, and if I could tell a whole audience out there something, it would be, you know, if you feel like you in the same rut all the time and things keep happening to you a certain way, it's not the world, it's you. Yeah, you gotta switch that up. You gotta look at things different. You do. You know, like, a lot of people like to do this, you know, and point at everything else, and it's like, just, it's you. Change you, and things will change. It's amazing. No doubt. You know. So we've even talked a lot about this already, where we're gonna go. But inspirations, man, where do you draw the most inspiration from for all this? What's fueling this creative juice that's in you? My life. Yeah. You know, I think everybody's creative in their own way, which sounds kind of cliche, but I mean it. Like, You know, I'm gonna take something that's not a creative medium, right? I don't mean game making. I mean, let's say you play video games, because I'm a avid gamer. I know it's another question. Sorry to jump a little bit. That's fine. But let's say, you know, you're a gamer. Like, you don't make music, you don't write poetry, none of that, but you're super good at video games. There's something to that, because kind of like when you're playing a game, the way that you're doing it. Let's say you're fighting game, you're like Street Fighter, role playing games. Yeah. The guys at the top of that pyramid, the guys who are really good at Street Fighter, it's an art form what they're doing.
Right.
Like, they're moving at a speed way above me and you.
Right.
We're playing on the same joystick, but the way they're manipulating is completely different.
Right.
And that's creative.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean when I say everybody's creative in their own way. Whether it's I'm the best host of all time, I'm a good writer, I'm a good sketcher, you know, things that you can see is easy to talk about.
Right.
So for me, my inspiration is my life. And it's not... Nas used to paint a picture based on what he saw. Right. Right. And some of it was his life, but some of it was just what was going on around him.
Right, what he saw.
And he would take those things and he would put them into dope records.
Absolutely.
Me, it's the same way, but it's more about the way things have affected me. I'm not good at making a story that's not real. I've tried to sit down and make a record about loving this fly chick that I met at the airport, and it never worked for me.
Yeah.
But I could write that record if I took the feelings and the emotions about a real experience.
Right.
You know what I mean? And maybe I'll change the location of when we first met, and now it's even doper. It's a doper story, because instead of me saying, yeah, I met her, you know, at the bar down here in Newburgh, you know, I met her at, you know, a Knicks game.
Right.
I could do that, but the emotion was already there because I'm talking about it from a real place.
Yeah.
So for me, I get creative. I'm inspired by my life and the things that affect me one way or the other.
Gotcha.
Even if it's a effect that's far-reaching. It's not something necessarily like this happened to me, but it happened in my lifetime. Like I talk about 9/11, that had a big impact in my life, and it's probably the reason why I went this way instead of continuing on the path I was on. Because I would have never had that drive for the military, which took me out of an area where I probably would have been caught up in the same things. That thing changed my life in a positive way.
Right.
And that's crazy to look at it like this all these years later. Like, yeah, that inspired me.
Yeah. Yeah. I can definitely understand where you could draw inspiration for something like that. And again, you know, I commend you on everything you're doing. The ability to step outside yourself, look at a situation and assess it, and then get back inside yourself and go forward. I mean, not a lot of people can do that, so I appreciate you. You know, it's very obvious that, ladies and gentlemen, that we could talk about being creative in music. We could talk about this ad nauseum for a long time, me and this dude. So let's switch speeds a little bit. Let's let the people know, you know, exactly who BLAKOUT is. If you're not making music, what's a favorite activity for you?
Video games.
Yeah.
I'm a big gamer, man. Okay. You know, I grew up loving video games. I think like a lot of people in my generation. Video games.
Yeah. That's what you do.
I mean, that's my outlet. If I'm not, you know, in my outlet, that's my outlet. In sports. And I think that's a normal thing. You know, sports are big. I'm a huge basketball fan. I'm a San Antonio Spur. I don't care if they don't like that. I'm not a Knicks fan. I root for the Knicks because that's the home. But if it's the Spurs versus the Knicks, it's the Spurs.
You're all Spurs. Okay. Yeah. I respect that for now while we stay. So, what's a favorite food, man? Now, when I say favorite food, I don't mean a generalization. I mean, like, you are thinking about something, you got a hunger for something. What is it?
Big ziti.
Big ziti.
Yeah, early.
Yeah?
Big. Listen, man, 5 types of cheese. Listen, there's a way that you got to make it. You know, the sauce is the marinara prego, not the regular traditional. We don't do that. So, I ain't going to give you a recipe. Big ziti.
Okay, big ziti.
Big ziti, not even close.
There you go.
Yeah.
You may have traveled a little bit more than some of my other guests that have been on the show. I'm an avid traveler. I love traveling. I love seeing the world, you know. And maybe it's just a local place, but what's your favorite place? Not home, because I'll say home with the family too, but what's a favorite place for you?
Germany.
Germany?
Yeah.
Talk to people about it.
I went to Wiesbaden in Germany. I was in the military. One of the first things you do, well, at least for me, I don't know what it's like now. They do something called localization. So, you know, let's say you get deployed and you go to, you know, whatever, Iraq. They don't just put you on a plane, drop you off in Iraq, give you a gun and say, okay, go shoot somebody. They take you to the region, to a safe zone, and then you're out there for a couple of weeks. And you're getting used to the climate, so that you can withstand the heat. You can't just go there and then start working because it's 120 degrees of just dry heat. It's a different kind of feeling. So they put you in the area and let you live normally. You know, a little, you know, as close to normal as possible. And during that time, I got to go to Germany. And Germany was definitely dope, especially for a young kid, you know, from New York who hadn't seen too much. I mean, I've been around the South, but, you know, the States is the States, you know, with the exception of some dialects and some slang and all that, some accents. Germany was a different speed. So, dope spot. And then before I left, I went back to Germany for another month. I got to hang out in the red light district. So you know what that is. Germany's a dope place.
You had fun out there.
A ton.
I can see it in your eyes. He's reminiscing over here telling me the story.
You know? Germany.
Very good. Very cool.
And the history. Germany has a lot of history, and I'm a big culture guy. So, like, I do a lot of traveling now. Like, I went to Puerto Rico last year. And, like, understanding, you know, why that island is the way it is. Why is it a territory? Right? That slavery was a big thing on that island. Like, that's a thing. Like, people don't think about it from no other context but Africa and America and the slaves. You don't realize, you know, if you're not really into it or you don't pay attention in class, like Puerto Rico is an American territory. It's not a state. And why is that? And who helped build that place? There's a big culture behind it. So I love finding out about that. In Germany, obviously, for obvious reasons. East and West and split. There's a lot going on there.
Two things about what you just said. One, Puerto Rico was inhabited by the Taino Indians. That was the first inhabitants there, and they're the ones that got put to slavery. And they were mighty fine-looking people, including the women, and that's why there's so many good-looking Puerto Rican people in the world. And number two, my mother-in-law, she likes culture too, and to get into things, and she's into Germany, and so she's into Hitler's story. You know, like to see like what that was all about. And she's foreign, so she's in the store one day with the wife, you know. From down the aisle, she yelled out to Angie, "Angie, a book about Hitler!" You know?
How'd that play out?
You know, everybody's like, you know, like what? You know? So that's just funny stuff. But no, I can appreciate that you've seen the world. So, how about if we were to switch speeds over to, are there any major pet peeves that you have, or maybe even like a line of advice that you're living by right now that's kind of pushing you in a direction?
Turn cans into cans.
Okay.
You know, I know we're off the music, but I put so much of who I am into music, and you know, I talk about it being therapeutic, or you know, it's not just a medium. Like I don't think I'd write a good book. I think I make a good album. I think I talk about things. It's not just, you know, I was broke at 7 and I went to jail or sold drugs. It's not like that. It's about all kind of things. It's about feeling of, you know, being wanted and being abandoned and what that did to me and how that made me look at things, and about, you know, when I look at the flag, what does it represent? It's not just all heroic. It's not just all like, it's not a perfect story. It's a lot of nuance. And while I can make, you know, 10 songs about turning up and having a party, you know, I promise you 8 of those songs had a deeper meaning if you just played it back 5 times and be like, oh no, I get it. Like, he's not even celebrating the party around him. He's on a whole different type of time. And I on a tangent, didn't I?
No, that's okay. That's okay. But just talking about lines of advice and pet peeves.
Turn cans into cans. You know, I am a prime example of a can. Meaning that I was told, you know, repeatedly by those who are supposed to help mold you and influence you in your life, you're a can't. Like, you can't do that, you can't do this, you know, from teachers, guidance counselors, PO, right, social worker. Like, you know, I didn't grow up, you know, after, you know, 7 or 8, and, you know, I talk freely about this all the time, like, it's not a thing. I didn't grow with my family. So, like, when I was, you know, turning into a teenager and going through that whole process and wanting to know about my name and my father and the stuff I didn't know and I couldn't get, like, it's hard to explain to somebody, like, it's hard growing when you don't even know who you are and where you come from, and not knowing your history at all. And you literally, every new experience is like a dagger when, you know, you're in school at a play and you're doing a recital in 7th grade and everybody else's parents are there and you have nobody to come there. And, you know, to me, that made me fall into music. So while I kind of like music in 7th grade, I started loving it. I would literally have to get trapped into it and fall into it, because at the end of the recital, your parents come up and everybody's getting those hugs, and I'm just kind of there with my instrument, and like I'll just sit down in the corner for an hour, which sounds kind of sad, but it's real. And like I'll write a song about it, and it kind of started from there. I'm that person. Like I got in trouble at school. Oh, you ain't gonna never be nothing. You look where you don't know where you come from,
Right.
and like it hurt. And you know, you go through these experiences in life. And life is about the journey. Believe me, there is no end game besides the one under the dirt for all of us, right? It's about the journey and the experiences. And I love now when somebody tells me I can't, because I will.
Yeah, right.
It's not even a can anymore. It's like I will.
Right.
Like watch me. What can I do?
Right.
And why can't I do it?
Right.
Turn cans into cans. Don't never let somebody tell you, you know, you can't do or be or become whatever it may be. And it's not even about somebody else's blueprint or their time is your time, right? You know, I'm not 21 anymore. I'm not even 30. I'm not 21 anymore. Why can't I break into music?
Right.
Why? How am I too old?
Right.
Am I not good enough?
Right.
Is that what you're saying? Because if I'm good enough, then any time that door is going to open, and that's the right time.
Facts.
And that's how I look at it. 2 Chainz, for all you people, has been in the game for 15, 20 years, right? Before he popped. You know, when he dropped Based on the True Story, he was 36.
Yeah. Yeah, he was older.
Uncle Murder just got signed. He's 42.
I know it.
Like, no, don't tell me I can't. I will.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I commend you on that. And another thing that Voice of the Valley and Finally TV's been doing is just taking 30 seconds of the show to look you in your eye and say, thank you. We appreciate you.
Come on, man.
You know, keep your thing going.
I appreciate it.
You know, because, like, it's not done enough. You know, and if unfortunately, if one of us was to leave here today and something happened to us, you know, then all the praises would come out. Oh, Finally TV was so great. Da, da, da. You know, something happened to you. Oh, I love the way he produced, but they wouldn't tell it to you when you walk by him.
Sure.
You know, so my job today is to tell you I like the music.
I appreciate it,
I think
brother.
it's dope. I think your whole approach to everything is very positive, and it can only be a winning attitude. So it's not a matter of if, it's just when. You know, you'll be a household name, basically. You know what I mean? That's what it is. So, with that said, and all of your experiences, my favorite question on Voice of the Valley, by far.
Okay.
Tell me about a time, maybe the first time is what I'm looking for, that you were made to feel like a star, or you felt famous, like you were like, wow, I did this.
I went to an open air festival.
Okay.
Got invited to, you know, I also would do. You know, when you're an aspiring artist, you do a lot of paying to break in the doors, right? So I paid, and I got in, and I played some music for the people, and I got a chance to be in a festival. And it was people that I respected, because it wasn't super mainstream. So it was like the Tech Nines and Immortal Techniques.
Oh, yeah.
And it was people who were here, right? If we're talking about like Drake's and all of them, and we're talking about me, right? The people who are here in the zeitgeist, like those are your... The Locks have a lot more notoriety, but honestly, like where they live is kind of here,
right?
Like the streets, and I don't say that in a negative way.
No,
I mean,
no.
like the streets, the community, embrace their music.
Yeah,
like they're not mainstream in the way that most big artists are mainstream. They're not. They don't have commercial success on that level. They are loved by the culture. They're loved by the community. They live here. You know, Tech Nine, people know who he is, but he's not a commercially viable artist.
Right.
He's just not. But people who are fans of him love his stuff.
Right.
So I got a chance to go and started out being, you know, an opener for this fest. And after about, you know, my second set, they changed that.
Okay.
And I got to go on the stage with these guys, because they were like, yo, everybody who hears your music loves it and they embrace it. So being able to walk out on this festival stage and have Immortal Tech, who I loved his music, and sit there and embrace me and introduce me was big. And because he said that, I had their attention immediately. So when the first beat started to drop, and at the time I was doing this song, it had like a 20-second intro on purpose. It was just the beats. It was a slow build up, and I was just standing there, and the beats playing, and the crowd just started going like this, because it was just all beat. It was nothing to say, and then it fades off, and this beat just hits, and I just started rapping, and it was just like, oh, and it went crazy, and you know. It was a great feeling. I got to sit in the back of the stage, watch those guys go kill it and do their thing. And when the sets was over, I got off the stage and I went to the back, and it was a line. It's probably had like 200 people just waiting. There's kids, there's women, men, all kind of people lined up. Wanting to get a photo, wanting to get a picture, wanting to talk to me about music, having me sign stuff. It was a great feeling. and that's like intoxicating, man. It's a high.
Yeah.
It's a high, but it's beautiful because I know that it was the music.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Once again, they didn't know me at all. It was the music.
Yeah.
So that was it, man.
Yeah, that is exciting. I would feel good too if that was me.
That was beautiful.
Half of the reason why that question is my favorite question is because it allows you to relive that moment. And as you're sitting here, everybody who tells me about the moment, they relive it. And the smile and the spark that comes to the eye when you relive that story is everything. And they see it on camera. Don't think they don't. You know, so that's why we asked that question. I definitely want to say, too, a big shout out to the 845 The Mix Show, Jay Lene. She's the reason why we connected and met. And they're doing the whole Rising Stars showcase. And you're a part of the whole Rising Stars showcase?
Yeah, I'm headlining the showcase.
Okay, yeah. And then just tell the people where it is, what's going on with that one.
May 24th. Escape Nightclub, Poughkeepsie, New York. Pull up, 10 o'clock, the Rising Star Showcase. It's going to be a movie for real. I haven't had a chance to perform up here in a long time. We talked about a little bit how I kind of been down south and kind of making a name for myself in a different way. This is my first time in years being able to come up here and do a show. Before I started doing a bunch of other shows for this summer. So May 24th, Escape Nightclub. Rising Star Showcase. It's going to be some dope talent from the Hudson Valley, surrounding areas. And then I believe I'm headlining, and then Ted Grams, Jake Nice, a couple other dope artists going to be out there as well.
I saw, and FinallyTV will be in the building a little bit later in the day. I got some obligations early, but I will be there, and I'm glad he's headlining because then I'll get to see you. I get to see you perform.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. So the only thing left to do, because we covered a lot of stuff here today, is just to go through the gamut of places that these folks can find you, get your music, get your production, contact you if they need production. Tell the people, man.
So, like I said, Blackout, 845, I represent the hometown all the time. So, no C, BLAKOUT 845. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook by that name. And we out here. You want to hit me up, you go to one of my social media pages, and you'll see my stuff up there. I don't say my email out loud because it sounds weird, ARDASH845@gmail.com, but like, go to my social media, hit me up, send me a message, talk about something, I'll hit you back. So Blackout 845, no C. Social media platforms. I don't do Snapchat. That ain't for me. So y'all young guys, y'all can have Snapchat. But I'm everywhere else.
Yeah, he's speaking from where I live too, because I just can't do Snap. I downloaded Snap and got in trouble with the wife the next hour. She's like, why do you have Snap? I'm like, okay, it's done. I don't even know what I'm doing.
It's not for me.
It's not for me either. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is the show. I want to thank you for coming on, man.
No doubt.
This gentleman is very talented. Please hit him up. Support. But I am Gabriel. He is Blackout. This is Voice of the Valley. FinallyTV. Let's go.